Hello, everybody. This is Renee Feeler, and welcome to this finale of the Outwitting Wetiko series. I am delighted that you're here, whether that's live or in archive. What a ride this has been. When I started, I didn't know how long we were going to do it for. I wasn't sure exactly which directions we would go. And I now see that the timing of what we've been doing is so perfectly. Again, even for those that are participating in archive, the timing is just, I feel so much stronger in my light body than I did before kind of exploring into these realms. So I hope that you're feeling the same way, and let's get started here. So before we get started, I would invite you to just relax your shoulders for a minute, and let's just do a little bit of conscious breathing here. Okay, nice. Close your eyes. Nice deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Very good. And again. Alrighty. And let's just do a little visualization here. I encourage you to imagine a beam of light, almost like another sun, inside your heart space. Good. And now let's add another inner sun inside your brain, inside your head, and another one just about 2 inches below your belly button, your navel. Very good. Now let's let those balls of light get bigger and bigger. And on this next increase, let's have those balls join into one big superstructure of light within you. Okay, very good. Again, relax those shoulders, please. So now there's this superstructure of light. And now it's just growing on its own. It's taller than your physical body. It's perfectly round. It is its own source of energy and warmth and divinity and all things to keep us comfortable and even thriving in these human journeys that we are each having alongside each other. Oh, nice. Okay, Wetiko is inviting us to open our hands, or if you have both hands free, otherwise just do one hand. And just imagine that there's all these like long ribbons, and those represent timelines. So in each hand, you have these sort of limp, long, formal, sort of like sashes or ribbons, and they each represent scenarios of your life, and they're beautiful. There's lots of different colors and patterns available in each of them. Oh, good. And now just imagine putting your hands together and combining all of those scenarios, making them all just as real for you, helping you see within your humanness all the possibilities, all the future scenarios. And now I encourage you to put a smile on your face as we're reminded of all these choices. No matter what's going on in the outer world or in your inner world, there are always a series of choices that we each can make. Look for those choices. Look for the options. They won't be handed to you easily in this world. Sometimes it feels like you have to scratch and claw to actually notice the choices and the options that are available to you. And sometimes it will feel like those scenarios and options are something that you are actually creating, that you're just looking for a moment of pause so that you can set in motion an option or scenario that, again, is not handed to you on a silver platter. It's something that you kickstart, that you get going. Very good. Okay, now each of those timelines and these ribbons that we have together in our hands, it's almost like they're each becoming this I want to say like a stallion, just this gorgeous horse with its own legs and its own muscle strength, its own tenacity, its own perseverance. And you can kind of ride that horse for as long as you want to try out a scenario, to see how it feels, to see if it feels like a good fit for you, to see if you like it. And they're all viable. There's so many choices here. Okay, very good. Wetiko just said, now that'll get you back in the saddle if you weren't in it yet. Oh, very nice. Okay, let's rub our hands together there and just wiggle your toes a little bit. Wiggle your fingers. Okay, very good. I am so excited about tonight. I have not a solid, clear picture in my human mind as Jill about what we're going to be doing tonight, but all I can tell is that there's a lot of excitement, probably for a lot of us. Now, one thing that Wetiko wants to mention is that since I kind of agreed to this, what do you want to say, collaboration with the unconsciousness in this reality in a way that can only be used for our good, that would only be offered to us for the upliftment and expansion of light and love and sovereignty within humanity. Those were my parameters. Those were my criteria before, going out on this limb here, that he's going to be continuously, it's like inserting his flavor, offering it to really whatever we need in terms of support. He wants to be there to support us, almost like as an acknowledgement of the strength of our light and this reality. He had mentioned in the beginning of the series that he honors us and he knows that there'll be a decompression of his power, if you will, and the sense of secrecy and veiled nature of him in this reality, and he would rather be exposed, if you will, through worthy kind of opponents, if you will, like us, versus somebody else. So he's open and really excited about the revelation of further light into this reality. He understands that. And I know in my life, the partnership, as I've been sharing, has been so literally revealing and so empowering in so many ways. It really does make your light stronger when you realize where the pockets of lack of light are, and you're willing to see it for what it is, to face it where it crosses your path, or where it's interfering in a way with humanity's sovereignty. So I hope that makes sense. And again, for those that want to share your own question or your own perspective, I encourage you to raise your hand and click star 2, or to click in the Q&A box. But let me see what Wetiko and the broader team, inviting them into this space as well for what we have to share with this finale message here. Okay, I'm just going to let him speak. You've impressed me. This group has significantly grown in your light factor, and I can see it. I can see how each of you are more bold, more courageous, more sturdy, and incredibly strengthened in your divine energy in this reality. It is interesting how this part, this revelation of unconsciousness, how much stronger you can feel in your light body by having this information, by having this wisdom available to you for you to apply, for you to discern in your independence as a unique vessel, literally, of light that you are. I see how each of you have made very informed and strategic application of this series in your personal lives, and every time you do it, I just get the smile on your face, going like, "Wow, this person doesn't need a review; they just get it." This is a very sophisticated reality, and I feel like, well, I don't feel it. What I witness is that many within spirituality and consciousness, they're almost unwilling to go this extra mile in terms of finding that sort of honor that is deserved regarding the veiling process, what unconsciousness is in this world, how it functions, how it behaves, and how it interacts with light here. The last message that we had, number 7, where we talked about the big ask and asking with some sense of politeness is such a foreign concept to some and would have been a foreign concept even to our partner. So this is really a whole different kind of ball game in a way of dancing in a respectful and honoring way within the confines of this reality while not yielding to the power of Source Creator God that you are. It's a wonderful, powerful, very effective combination. Okay. And the power of your ask has grown exponentially as a result of all of this. I do encourage you to dream even bigger than you ever have before. You're even more savvy in your light as a result of your engagement with this work. You understand at a deeper level the process of unconsciousness, and therefore understanding more deeply the process of consciousness amidst unconsciousness in this reality. It's almost impossible to have one without the other. And it's certainly, you're less equipped when you only have one part of that sort of equation. And there is a balanced equation in this world, in this reality known as Earth. Okay, hang on. We're just showing our partner something, and it's going to take her a minute to see this. Okay. We're offering you an upgrade in this moment, an upgrade of alchemy, an upgrade of emerald rays, which are known to be healing and restorative and rejuvenating for the human energy field, for the divinity within humanity in this reality. Some of you may be feeling this as a spiral of energy within your bodies, almost like a stirring of green energy within you. Infused with gold and platinum and the pure white light of God consciousness. You see, I love this too. I honor this too. It is a beautiful sight within this reality, and I couldn't deny it if I tried. I honor the role that each of you play in this world. I do want to support light. I desire to support light in this reality. Your light is more powerful than it's ever been. There have been masters of light that have walked this planet in the human bodysuit that have been unwilling or uninterested in becoming more deeply aware of Wetiko and unconsciousness. And it didn't hold them back to not know in many ways. Their light still was a surge and a force and created a ripple in this reality. But when you're willing to more deeply appreciate and understand the quarantine, the pre-life, during life, and afterlife effects of unconsciousness. It's like another level of the playbook, in a way, of what your light is capable of being in this world. It's like another level of ninja training for a group like you. So your predecessors, your predecessor masters of light, ascension guides, spirit guardians, and the many ways that you are here and have been here in other timelines, there's a deep bow to you that you had the courage, that you have the passion to look at anything and everything that will further strengthen the light of God in this world. Just feel that for a moment. That you really have gone where few have gone before. Some didn't know it was possible. Some just thought it was a little too out there. For some it seemed like a contradiction. And I'm guessing most of you can see that. It does. There is there is an apparent contradiction at wanting to have your light grow, and by having your light grow in this world, that you're willing and interested to look at lack of light more closely, so that you can almost like a surgeon understand the cancer, so you can allow the healthy cells to overtake it, so that you can win sort of the battle, so that you can balance yourself so firmly in the light of Source Creator God. That lack of light, it's not that it's not an issue, because it's still available here, it's still an option here, but it's like you neutralize its cancerous effect on you and on your path and on all the timelines that you have and that you will create. You're like immunized. It's like a vaccine for unconsciousness in this world, and you're immunized. Beautiful job. You should be extremely proud of yourself. I know I am extremely proud of you. What you are doing changes the timelines of humanity on Earth. And I'm imagining that you can feel this. The forces that thrive and count on deception, manipulation, unconsciousness, they're a little befuddled right now because you guys create a wild card moment. Now they cannot take for granted any longer that humans will kind of just take it. Just accept what they're told, not questioning. You've made their experience, for anyone that is counting on veiling and secrecy and deception, you've made their job at one extreme a lot harder. On another extreme, you've made it impossible. And I feel you celebrating as your human self all the way into the spectrums of your higher self. And you should be celebrating. This is a celebratory moment. Now, what does this mean? I'm excited to see actually what it means. There are still opportunities for lack of light, for sure, within this world. And yet its level of severity, its breadth and depth of impact on humanity as a race of life is diminished and questionable. And this is good. So in every single pocket of unconsciousness in this world, there's a greater and greater chance of, I want to say, exposure. So light revealing the lack of light, consciousness prevailing over unconsciousness, and a much greater probability of anyone directly affected, a human directly affected by this attempted manipulation or deception, there's a much greater probability that they will all of a sudden, just like an epiphany of, wait a minute, like a zombie kind of awakening in the moment. Those chances get stronger now. They get higher now. So truly, this notion of anything being possible, especially on the positive side, where the light-based energies surge and soar, you've like firmly offered a foundation and a platform for those happy endings, if you will, to be more and more common. Again, the lack of light will still be there, though, you guys, and we've said many times throughout our work with our partner that please don't use lack of light experiences as anything other than a sign that you're still on Earth. It doesn't have to mean that you're doing anything wrong or that light isn't kind of winning in this reality. It isn't about winning. In that kind of pluses and minuses sort of column, it's about the freedom of humanity to choose light in every single situation. Whether it chooses or not is still very much an individuated experience. Okay. You will notice that some humans seem to be more sort of predisposed to the heaviness of Wetiko, the heavy kind of black cloud sort of experiences, depression, hopelessness, insecurity, not trusting their light in this reality. Those experiences do tend to surround certain individuals more than others. So let's speak for a moment first to those that are pretty clear that you're not in that camp. In other words, you may have never had a serious bout of depression, certainly not one that's lasted more than a couple days. You tend to be pretty optimistic, very hopeful, pretty shiny and sunny on the inside and on the outside. You have an opportunity here to, in this reality, to be that light as brightly as you can, and to just naturally be you. And we see you doing this naturally anyway, but just having that sense of compassion and understanding for those that for various and multiple reasons seem to not have it as easy. It seems like they have a harder time accessing that light and holding that light like you do. Okay. There's many reasons for this. Going into them would probably give the why more attention than it deserves. It's the what that we want to talk about here. Okay, so just keep shining your light. You don't need to. We would encourage you don't dim your light to make them feel more comfortable. That would be denying your identity and denying your role really in this world. Okay, so let's just kind of take maybe a sigh of relief on that one. If you're naturally sunny, then be naturally sunny. Now, for anyone that is hearing this, that feels like you are more naturally in another realm of the spectrum, where you do tend to have an easier slide into depression or hopelessness, insecurity, not trusting your light. Let's address you beautiful ones for a minute as well, and let's just relax our shoulders. We're starting off with just a big ol' mama bear hug for you. As your higher self, you are nothing but the pure and divine light of God. We say this without hesitation and without reservation. That is 100% true, that you are eternally light. And for various reasons, your light feels more fragile or even easily compromised in this reality. Can you make it stronger? Possibly. There's multiple ways that you can do and that you can try to create a stronger a structure for your light. The easiest avenue truly is your beliefs and your truths and your sense of personal identity about who and what you are in this reality. That is the easiest approach to strengthening your light in this world. With every single individual that I see that has a pattern of depression or even panic attacks, there is a rhythm of, oh no, I could make a mistake at any moment that could make me flatten my light and soar or sink, surge into the abyss of lack of light. That you're one mistake away from falling into that sense of hopelessness and helplessness again. Just contemplate that for a minute as your expanded self, how easy that slide seems to be. We are offering extra rescue ladders for you, beautiful one, because we want in the next repetition of that cycle, we want you to just almost like a slippery mountain mudslide. We want you to feel the power of your pause. Or in the minute where you feel like, oh no, here I go again, I'm about to slide down in that abyss, that you just immediately like put the pause button on yourself and go, wait a minute, I know I've got choices here. I was told I have choices, and I'm going to stop for a moment energetically and look for them. And if I don't see one, I'm going to create one. And in that moment, every single one of us, as members of your team or any other team in this tribe, will be throwing you a lifeline. Will you count on it? Will you look for it? We hope you do. And even if you do decide to slide down that mountain, all the way into an abyss, we will still be right there with you, because your higher self is still smiling at you, still acknowledging your light, still honoring your choice in this reality, and feeling nothing but love and compassion. That this reality, the way it's been structured, offers the highest highs and the lowest lows. And it's a strange combination to have them alongside each other, especially when you are feeling like you're in the middle of that abyss and somebody walks by you and they can't help but glow, shinier than the sun. And there's a part of you that's like, how can we both be standing next to each other with such a dramatically different, polar opposite sort of experience? It is a mystery in this reality that all of this can run side by side along each other. So the beautiful thing about those shiny, happy people around you is that they've got more than enough light to go around. So when they make eye contact with you and they see your hopelessness and your helplessness, and all they want to do is look at you and offer you love and compassion and being a witness to all that you are. The light alongside the sense of lack of light that you may be personally experiencing in that moment. They're not stopping the shine. That's what they're naturally doing. And you can benefit from that. Notice all the different interpretations that you have, even from that sense of being in the abyss. You can be jealous, you can be angry, you can be annoyed by all that sunny disposition, or you can simply observe it and go, wow, they're standing right by me. They've got probably the same ambient temperature that I do. They may be very similar in a lot of ways to what I'm feeling right now. They're in the same place as I am. They're 1 foot away from me. I wonder what it would feel like to reach out and touch their shoulder or grab their hand Or just let the tears just roll down your face. Because sometimes you can't find the words to say, help me. I feel like I'm dying here. So don't hide yourself from the shiny ones. Get out there and look for them. Because they are showing you the light of your higher self. Don't worry about infecting them with your darkness. It takes a lot to infect these guys. They just shine without even thinking about it. And for whatever reason, that it doesn't come as easy for you in this reality, at least not for now, don't worry about tainting them. Their light is extremely durable. Actually, far more durable than your sense of the abyss that you're in. They're everywhere. Let their light shine on you so that you remember the light shining in you. And then just let it go. Let the abyss recede. Let your light volume increase. And don't ask why on your way out of the abyss. Just let it go. Try not to put a story on it about what happened and why, or rationalizations like, well, I have to know what happened so that I don't get here again. What if that's not even true? What if you can just let it pass? On a sunny day when a storm passes, there's not a lot of reflection on, well, we have to understand that storm because it may come again. Yes, it might. And you know what? The sun's going to come again too. You don't have to analyze it. Give your brain a big hug in that process and say, whoa, that sucked. So glad that's over. And just let it be. And do you know what will happen? Those moments of you being in that abyss can possibly become, at least we want you to try it out, they can become less and less frequent and much less deep in severity. They can become shallow little speed bumps, like a little pothole in the road that you just bump in and bump out really quickly. No disruption in your path. No disruption in your journey. We're hoping you make this the truth in your reality. And of course, seek any sort of additional support that you need, whether that's an energy healer or an evaluation of your biology and your chemistry and what supports you fully in your body. But know that your light is very, very strong at your higher self level, and that we want nothing but for that to be that light, that love, that sense of self-compassion and self-love, self-understanding to be 100% present in every moment of your journey. Okay? Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. Shiny, happy people. There's this REM song that Jill is thinking of. Okay, let's wiggle our fingers for a moment here. And Jill's just going to her emails. I think we addressed Layla's question, but let me just see. Actually, I do want to kind of take another kind of swipe in the similar topic to her question. Okay, let's see how I want to kind of summarize her awesome question. Okay. I feel actually, Layla, like it is a really close complement. That second part that we went into there, I feel like was for you or for anyone else that feels kind of sensitivities to fear and to lack of light situations. Some would say darkness. I do feel like it is a lack of light. It's not darkness as an opposition to light. It's just energy where there isn't a lot of light on the matter, from inside the energy pocket or energy bubble. So it's nothing light can't fix, but the ability for us to put our intellect to it and our ego to it, and further fear about lack of light kind of amplifies the lack of light situation even more. So it's a really it's a really delicate balance there, but I appreciate that every single one of us, especially through the series, has hopefully gained further insights and awareness and intelligence, savviness, whether we're in a full-on light explosion, light burst in our own lives or witnessing it in others, and for those situations where we sense lack of light, or whether we're kind of skeptical or suspicious that there's something almost like sinister sort of going down and going on, that you have the presence to face it and address it as you individually are led. The discernment that we feel in this group right now is just nothing but exciting and delicious going forward. So we're actually excited for more and more of you to have moments where you can be discerning and maybe take matters in a different direction than maybe in the past you would have said, oh, that feels too spooky or creepy or whatever. I just want to go in the other direction. You still totally have that choice, and we would honor that as well. And we noticed with our partner, as she's been working in this expanded way, we see her seeing things like, oh no, this has got, I'm suspicious about this all over the place, and I don't want to look away. I want to really dig in here and explore this further, and perhaps pull the rug back a little bit and really shine the light on something that feels like it's not what it's shown to be, that it's pretending to be something that it's not, and I'm not okay with that. So I'm going to blow the lid on this, like a cosmic whistleblower is what one of this tribe's actually called her recently, a cosmic whistleblower, and she's somewhat uncomfortable yet somewhat exploring and getting possibly more comfortable with that layer of her work and what she's offering this reality. So we're still experimenting whether that's something she really, really likes to do and appreciates or not. But anyway. Okay, so let's switch gears here and go into your questions or topics or really anything that you want to raise up for us to shine a light on and dig into deeper. So for those that are on the phone, please click *2 to raise your hand, or you can type in the Q&A box as well. We have a nice collection of people joining live. This is exciting. Okay, so I'm going to, this is me. I'm going to blow my nose, and I'll be right here. It's quiet out here, friends. So we may end early, and that's okay, too. I see Deirdre. Deirdre, can you hear me?
I sure can. Hi, Jill. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am doing really well, thank you. Awesome topics. And, of course, today is right on the head with what's going on in my life. So.
Oh, perfect.
Awesome.
Good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And, yeah, things are going great, too, since our talk together. So I'll send you an email on that. But
good. I'm so glad to hear it. Good.
So my question goes back to a couple, because I was, the good student I am, I slam dunked and reviewed all the Wetiko episodes, which has been great to review. And the one that really sticks out and speaks to my heart was when he talked about superhuman aspects that we can utilize and tap into. And I was wondering if it'd be possible, like what just dawned on me or hit me or like what I want to explore is like how can we use those superhuman powers and aspects in the way that we create and what we do, and like rather than just like save lives, like how can we use those in our almost everyday life and as we create going forward? Is there ways you can expand on that?
Oh, Deirdre, I'm so glad you asked that question, because it's just like, he's just like totally chit-chattering in my ear, and your team's excited, my team's excited, so thank you so much for asking this. Okay,
Cooper.
so this could go in many different directions, and that's what's so exciting about it, is that, I mean, it's almost like our teams are saying, how do you want it to release? Because the supernatural abilities, especially with this sense of savviness that we've acquired relative to unconsciousness and how it kind of seems to work against light and our love and our forward progression as humans evolving, right? It's like we're really kind of unleashing and releasing all of these, like, I almost look at them as like pods of like stardust kind of explosions in our lives. There are so many examples. Now, where we're going to feel the most resistance, okay, hang on a minute. This one is bigger. I want to use a personal example, but my team is also, I'm also like, is that relevant? And they're like, yeah, go for it. Okay, so here I'm going to go. Okay, so some of you know that I recently did a video, unlike any video I've ever done before, where basically I'm on my computer watching the live news feed unfold about a apparent terrorist attack in Munich, Germany. And I'm watching it and I'm recording it because of the fact that I'm seeing in a supernatural way inconsistencies that most humans don't see. Not only do they not see it, Deirdre, they don't want to see it. So this is where it gets interesting, because the quarantine gets thinner for those of us that are, it's almost like embracing this supernaturalness of our humanness. It's like humans on steroids in a light-based sort of way, that we have like this ability to cognitively function in an expanded way, inner sensory awareness, sense of guidance, sense of purpose, sense of durability in this world, sense of everything. I mean, it's like it's limitless, but it was so weird because my intention of doing that video was I had been interested in this idea that things are being orchestrated and are shown to us to be something that it's actually not. That it's filled with lies and hoaxes and manipulation of emotions. So to actually have it be going down live at that moment and my attention placed on it, and then once I started hitting record, it was almost like I was just, it was way too easy, Deirdre. It was weird. It's like I all of a sudden felt like an expert in terms of, yeah, there's this, oh my gosh, then there's this. It was like as I was doing it live, it was almost too easy to see all of the inconsistencies, the illogic of it. And not trying to presuppose like, oh, well, they're manipulating us for this reason. I was just like, A, B, C, D, just like an attorney in a courtroom, just like flaw. And they were just so easy to flip and just to kind of uncover them and just put it out there. Now the backlash is amazing. The blowback is huge in terms of because it's really pushing on the quarantine. The pressure to keep the quarantine in place is really solid. It isn't solid, but it feels like really, really legit. So any of us that are tearing away at our own veils and surpassing what humanity is capable of, you're going to feel some of that blowback. And it depends in a lot of ways on where you are attempting to kind of push the envelope, if you will, how public it is versus how private it is, how big of a system you're kind of taking on, whether it's a city council kind of issue or a global mass hoax. You're going to feel that. But what I want to make sure we all know is we are 1,000% supported in any of these areas, because when I look across all of us as our soul signatures, there's so much it's like low-hanging fruit, literally, for us to just literally play, have fun, allow these supernatural abilities to kind of go forward, and literally use them in a way that you feel and that each of us individually feels comfortable with. So the very best way to tap into the supernatural humanness literally is by playing with it yourself. For me, personally, as Jill, the more I'm sticking my neck out, the more I'm kind of like relying on those supernatural abilities to kick in. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But everybody's going to be different in that. But that could be true for all of us. I'm kind of excited to find out how that goes for everybody. But I know for me, that was it felt to me like a huge risky thing to put that video out there. And I think latest count today, I have like 56 comments on this video. And those are just the ones I approved. I deleted a whole bunch that were just totally like crass and rude and just bad. Really, really hateful stuff. I mean, it's amazing, again, that blowback. But I'm just like, delete, delete. I'm sticking my neck out here, and I can set the parameters for how I do this. And I do encourage everyone to, if you're going to stick your neck out, recognize that you have the authority, you have the power to do it in a way that you do feel your sense of kind of personal safety and sovereignty in that matter. You don't have to become a doormat for ridiculous trolls on social media. You just don't have to do that. So anyway, but that supernatural ability. Now, your higher self wants to add something special for you, Deirdre, related to this.
Thank you, higher self.
She's like, I got your back. And she's just smiling at you, and she's like, Deirdre, you're already doing this. You already have so much experience knowing that safety net is just constantly expanding based on where you're going. You've got this. You know that your higher sensory awareness, that inner special guidance system, she's calling it, just kicks in for you when you know you need it. When you know you've like, okay, I've just, autopilot, come on. Divine autopilot, I need you. And it's there for you.
Cool.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's amazing because a cool sounding opportunity showed up, and it was like, some of it sounds too good to be true, but a lot of people are getting on board and they're excited about it, and it's just
great.
Things keep nagging me about it, and it's like, man, something just feels a little bit off, and yeah, so it's kind of that disappointment thing of, wow, here's something that's cool falling easily into my lap, and it's like, oh, no brainer. This would be awesome, an awesome platform to start off on. Nice. And I can see the benefit of this in the future, but the way that this place is doing it is like, oh, something sticky.
There you go. I love that. And it's funny because I can relate to that in a lot of ways, by the way, because there's so many things that as different and newer opportunities are coming my way, there's some of them that I easily want to say no to. And then there's other ones that I'm like, you know what, it's not perfect, but I can see the benefits of that opportunity. So I'm willing to kind of accept the deficiencies of the opportunity because the pluses outweigh the minuses. And because of that conscious choice and the full awareness of the deficiencies alongside the advantages, it actually gives us more space to have this amazing outcome as a result of it. Because, see, what's happening is that there's like this before and after. There's another version of us that would have been like, only focus on the positive. It's such a great opportunity, and, don't even look at the weaknesses of the opportunity because that'll just magnify them. It's almost like some of us were afraid to look at what wasn't exciting to us about an opportunity. In other words, the minuses, the negatives about something. We just wanted to almost like pretend they weren't there. But now, given our expanded sense of sovereignty and light and authority of light in this reality, we're willing to look at all of it and really consciously evaluate and weigh these kind of pros and cons. And that's further allowing us to create an outcome because we're going into it so fully aware.
I love that. That's pretty cool because I am kind of like was kind of an either or. Like, it doesn't all seem to be integrity. Yeah. So do I want to put my name out with that, or
Yes.
or can I consciously know that, oh, how can I make this integrous for me and see where this other opportunity is going? That's
beautiful.
Cool.
I love it. And it's so funny because, I mean, for me, I'll just give a funny example. A year ago, there's two, and I talked a little bit about this in a recent weekly podcast, but there's two really, really big telesummits that are in kind of my field, my area. One is Jennifer McLean's, and one is Darius, this guy Darius. And Jennifer's I'd been on about a year and a half ago, and everybody I knew that was in the industry was like, oh my God, I can't believe you got on Jennifer's. That's so exciting. And it was really a letdown for me. It was like, wah, wah, wah. And everybody's like, you must have made a ton of money. I'm like, nope, I didn't make a lot of money. Not at all. I make more money on the other telesummits I do. So it was just really this, wow, that isn't anything like what I expected. I met a lot of amazing people. Some of the people that are on this call I met in that. So I'm glad I did it, but it was definitely not what I expected it to be. And I really, I wasn't as savvy then. So I just believed what everyone said. It's going to be amazing. And it wasn't. And I was like, wow, really that? Whoa. Okay. Not what I expected. So now I was like, after that, I was like, I don't even care if Darius asks me on. I think I'll say no. And then now that they asked me on, I really had a good kind of chat with myself about, I can make this amazing. It's still a great opportunity, but now I'm much more clear that it isn't what everybody thinks it's going to be. So now I'm kind of more casual and just kind of like, yeah, this I'm gonna have fun no matter what happens, and really kind of seize this opportunity to share with his audience and make it something amazing for anyone that wants to experience it. But I don't have these phony kind of billboardy sort of expectations of what other people think it's going to be. I don't know if I'm explaining that well, but it's very different than how I felt with the other big opportunity.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense.
So for your opportunities, Deirdre, your team is just smiling because I love your kind of sniff test that something feels a little bit off on like one or two of them or some flavors of it, and yet your team is saying, again, there's your timelines, right? There's all these beautiful ribbons like we had in our hands at the beginning, and we have so much ability to make something pretty cool, even if it didn't initially look that way. And we also have just as much authority to say, you know what, I think maybe I can do better in another scenario and not this one. I think I'll wait for another entry point or create another entry point where it feels better to me than the compromises I'm being asked to make.
Yep.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
So exciting. So I can't wait to get your update. Oh, I'm so excited. Don't wait too long. I'm all on the edge of my seat about this now.
Okay. Oh, no, cool.
Very
cool. It's all good. And great advice. So if anyone's on this and they've never had a one-on-one session with Jill, sign up. Totally worth it. Thank you.
Thanks, Deirdre. I love the private session work for sure, and it was really great to hear your voice again tonight.
Well, thank you. I'll let someone else speak. And thanks to Wetiko for the enlightening opportunities. It's pretty helpful.
Good. He's smiling at you and giving you a thumbs up, and he's like, this is good. This is good. And he's like, I'm glad I did this. He's kind of like, I'm glad I did this. And he's like, I didn't know if I wanted to do it either. And now he's kind of giggling at us. Oh, I love you, Deirdre. Cool. Good to talk with you.
Oh, good to talk to you, too. Love you as well.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night.
You too. Oh, you guys are so awesome. I feel so blessed that we all get to hang out together. Hi, Amanda. She has a question typed in here. It says, thank you, Jill and Wetiko. Oh, wait, let me make sure. Okay, yeah, good. Okay. This has been a powerful and interesting series for me. I am so grateful for this time spent together. Why is there an affinity/connection towards certain star systems or star beings? Why do some people feel that they have originated from these places? You started to discuss this in the episode regarding death, but went in another direction. Oh, Amanda, I'm so glad you asked those. Thank you. I have talked about it in different series, including the Soul Signature series, which is another one that I recommend you check out for anyone that hasn't. Amanda, I think you've already done that series. So yes, let me have another opportunity to kind of go at this. Okay, there's many different answers that are all accurate to this, but in terms of why, one of the reasons, and Wetiko's smiling at this one of the reasons that some of us do have an affinity or a connection towards certain star systems or star beings is that it we know at a soul level, and our human consciousness is tapping into that soul knowing that we're not from here. So that is true, that we are far more than just our humanness. So where it gets interesting in many different ways, but where it kind of goes in a downward spiraling area for some is that they start to get elitist or arrogant about it. And that's what I started seeing as Jill when I came across this notion of whether someone is or is not a starseed. For some people, there's this sense of, well, I'm from, Sirius B or whatever. And then there's this assumption that some humans are not starseed, that only some are starseed and some are and some aren't, and those that aren't as evolved, aren't as special, or aren't as capable, aren't as worthy, aren't as light-based, whatever. But the fact is that no one's from here. I mean, Earth is an experiencing place. It's not a birthplace. Souls aren't born here. So there's this misinterpretation and misunderstanding that just then translates into another form of racism, where it's not race like African American or black or white or any of those sorts of things, but it's like a cosmic racism of, the Pleiadians are clearly at the top of the ladder, evolution and light-based love, whatever, light quotient. There's just so many different interpretations that get judgy and elitist and superior, and that's the part that I was kind of like, oh, that does not feel like a true story, number one, and it feels like another kind of method of separating humans from each other and separateness from our core divinity. Anyway, so that's what started to kind of smell bad there to me in terms of the cosmic whistleblower that I didn't even know I was then. But yeah, I was like, something's off about that. So the reason that we have it, the number one reason that I'm being shown here by Wetiko, is that we just yearn, for some of us that have these sort of existential sorts of questions, we yearn for this knowing that we're more than our humanness. And for some, the attraction of religion was unsatisfying, or at some point became unsatisfying. So then we meander into these other different layers of truth and knowing, that there is something bigger than sometimes the helplessness that we feel in our humanness, right? So starseed storylines fit that need, fit that bill in a real way. So it's okay. So I know for me, I remember at sort of the not too long after my initial awakening experience, I was walking downstairs. My daughters were quite young at the time. And I literally, the clairaudience was just so crystal clear. And literally, it almost felt like someone in the room said, Beta Centauri. And I was just like, Beta Centauri? What the heck is that? And I didn't know what that was, but I immediately walked over to my laptop and I typed in what I thought I heard, and I spelled it beta. I knew beta. That's a normal word for me, beta. But then Centauri, I spelled it kind of like Santorini, like in Greece, Santori, Centauri. And it came up Santorini. I'm like, well, that's not it. And then it Google pointed me to Centauri, Centauri, which is a star, Alpha Centauri and Beta Centauri. And I was like, Beta Centauri. And I said it out loud, and Olivia was probably, 2008. She was probably about 5 or 6 at the time. And she said, what's Beta Centauri? And I said, I don't know. It's a star. And it was like an inner voice kind of thing where I thought I heard Beta Centauri. So I don't know what that is. And she said, maybe that's where you're from. And I was like, well, that's kind of weird, because I hadn't talked about starseed, I want to say theology with her. And I just kind of looked at her and I'm like, maybe. And then it was later on that I realized that I felt like I was from more than one place. So I felt like a strange kind of hybrid combination of more than one starseed. And that worked for a while for me as an upgrade, right? And then eventually I was like, well, wait a minute. If we're really beyond the time-space continuum, then we're not from anywhere. We're from everywhere, and we're everything, everywhere, all at the same time. Truly, at the most highest self level of oneness. But in this reality, we feel individuated. So I can see the benefit of feeling a connection with a star system or multiple star systems, if we're expanded enough to kind of grasp that idea that we're from more than one place and from more than one timeline. We're embodying more than one timeline. Okay, let's relax our shoulders. There's a lot going on here in this. I'm sorry. I'm packing in a lot of layers in this answer. Okay, so then at some point, I was like, well, that doesn't make sense then, because I'm not from Beta Centauri or the Pleiades or some of these other places I feel a connection with. And some of the star systems that I felt a connection with didn't even have human names yet. I couldn't make a human sound that would characterize the signature I felt in terms of where these star systems, or what these star systems were. Some of them hadn't been identified yet in humanity. So what do I do with that? If we're not from there, then what is it? And my team showed me that it's more like a passport stamp, and that the reason I feel a connection with Beta Centauri is that as we do create something called a human that enters the time-space continuum, that allows us to have an ambassador and a representative of our soul signature in this reality, we do allow our energy to transit through different star systems into this reality. And it shows up like a passport stamp does in your passport book, that you've been through Paris and it affects your energy field. So Beta Centauri, for me, is one of my passport stamps. And there's a lot of other passport stamps that I feel connected to in this reality and feel are a part of me. I like to cover a lot of bases, though. I don't feel like I'm just, my birth sign of being a Pisces. We do transcend those labels and constructs at some point. The more and more we allow ourselves to be indefinable, undescribable, as the pure source of light that we are in this world. So I do invite any of you that allow yourself to be tangible and intangible at the same time, to allow your sense of self and your sense of what these things mean, like a star seed and star being and what the star system is and how it relates to us, to allow it to be very fluid and evolve, and let your criteria perhaps be like mine is. Does it serve me in allowing my light to be as bright and as limitless as I can presently allow it to be? And for a while it'll be great, and then I'm like, hey, wait a minute, I actually feel a limitation in that now, right? So for a while it can be an upgrade. For a while, for me, it was an upgrade to think of myself as a starseed. And I was like, wait a minute, actually I see some weaknesses in the structure now that I'm kind of getting into this more. And then I allowed myself another upgrade. Oh, I'm not from there. It's some sort of passport system. And then when that doesn't serve anymore, and you're kind of like, well, wait a minute, we're beyond the time-space continuum. So it's all, we're so much more than that. Let it be anything. Let me be from every star system that anyone can imagine. So I know that is maybe even frustrating to the human brain, and yet truly anything that gets in the way from your sense of self in your being this limitless, fully expressed version of light in this world, then get out that eraser and allow yourself to redefine it for yourself, right? I didn't want to wait for somebody else to figure that out for me, so I'm constantly kind of, I want to say, pushing on my team in a way, and my sense of, okay, well, that doesn't work anymore. I feel an edge there, and I don't like edges. So what else you got? What else you got in terms of how we can understand and explain who and what I am in this reality? And that's why I love to do what I do, because I feel like as long as I'm pushing in ways that maybe others haven't pushed yet, then I can offer an alternative to who and what we all are here that maybe is, I want to say, bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, because truly we are an infinite essence of energy in this world. And we get to decide what that means. We get to decide how we apply that light into this reality. And I'm so excited about a group like this, almost like doing whatever we individually or collectively feel led towards allowing that light to further expand, further be in the beautiful humans that we each are, and not leaving anything out, right? So cool. It's so exciting. Thank you so much for asking that, Amita. And I hope, let me know if that led to any further questions while we're still live here. And let me get a drink, and then I see Paul. Paul.
Hi, Jill.
Hi, how are you?
Doing fine. It's I just wanted to start off by saying that this has been an incredible series, truly like nothing else. And it's just one of those things that sort of, I'm sure after this session will keep growing and growing. And one of the things I was thinking about is when you were getting into, I think you referred to it as the revelation of unconsciousness, and how there's somewhat of a balance equation there, where the more we delve into the realm of unconsciousness, the more we start to realize a bit more about consciousness, and therein lies a bit of a contradiction where, in order for our light to grow, we have to sort of start examining or embracing the lack of light. And so you mentioned, and it was subject to our last discussion about asking the big questions. And you mentioned this idea of wildcard moments where there's even the potential to sort of change the timeline of humanity. And it seems that, this is a lot of foundational work, we've been delving into, just discerning and getting into various aspects of that Wetiko was introducing. And a lot of it, as I understand it, is like a personal journey, and in turn it provides that sort of platform or foundation for others to sort of to look at that and sort of provide an example for people to sort of learn or discern or make a decision. What I'm wondering about is there, given that individual sort of journey and experience, is there a relationship as more and more come online with delving into the unconsciousness, as you put it, uncovering those pockets of unconsciousness and, really becoming more grounded in their light, in our light, within more of the collective setting? For example, is there, as more and more delve into unconsciousness and become more grounded, how does that relate to situations where, when you're looking at the larger collective, like some people suggest there's a tipping or a critical mass where, if enough are delving into it, that things tend to happen more exponentially? Is there a relationship there?
Oh, thank you so much for asking this question, Paul, because I was kind of curious when they were talking about the equation and the balancing of the equation as well. Okay, so this relates in some ways to what Deirdre was talking about. So we're really going to probably challenge most of us that are logical thinkers and that appreciate the laws of mathematics in this world. The supernatural authority allows us to trump the balancing in this reality. We are actually, we can see, we as a team can see within each and every one of us that we've gone way off balance in a good way towards levels of light that are not balanced by unconsciousness. So every single one in this group, whether you're participating in this live or an archive years down the road, you are literally defying the laws of balancing lack of light and yin and yang and all these kind of stereotypes of the separation age and the dark age and the quarantine and all these things. Once you start to go towards a certain level of balancing in light, you start to reverse, and it's not reverse, you overturn the laws of balance in this world. So we wanted to talk about that kind of cosmic principle first, that you are defying and you're superseding the laws of balancing the yin and the yang in this reality towards levels of light that are truly unprecedented. Okay? Now, once you start to, there's a lot of flaws in the notion that there is a tipping point for the human race, or a tipping point by which human consciousness starts to tip towards one way or the other. And this is getting weird for our partner because it's true, and yet there are benefits to it not being true. How about that? So there's something called like the 100th monkey effect, right? Where once a certain number of species or members of a species get to a certain point of knowledge or evolution, that it just spreads like wildfire in a way that defies logic, and yet can be verifiable even through present-day science. So that is true, and yet what many of you have been involved with as your higher self is impatience. So in multiple council meetings along the way, there has been this sort of, are we there yet? Because in spirituality and consciousness communities, we've been told that we have to get to a certain level before it catches on like wildfire. And we're supposed to be kind of patient and waiting around for the rest to get it. And what some of you did, and we would love to inform you that every single one of you in a group like this were part of that group that said, do we really have to wait for a certain tipping point, or can we just keep going? And for those that want to go on their own light-based ride, awesome. And for those that don't, that's okay too. But that we're not dependent on a certain number, a certain majority, a certain tipping point. Can we just forget that part of the law and create another path forward? And we did. We created independent paths forward that supersede the natural laws that had been in place in this reality for something called a tipping point. This changed everything. And as some of you can probably feel that for yourself, that some of you are noticing that there's a huge portion of the population that still doesn't get it, ? And what this allowed to happen is that a good portion of them, they never have to get it. That changed the entire ascension timeline for humanity. And that you didn't, this group, and anyone else that was already into a personal ascension scenario didn't have to wait for what the human race was or was not going to be doing, or what a majority was or was not doing, or what a minority was capable of doing. You changed and kind of further embraced the sovereignty profile that humanity always had in its midst. The separation age was very much hinged on this idea of you cannot leave the collective vibration of the human race. And what some of you realized is that there would be advantages to having that law not be true anymore. So you created a backdoor loop out of the human race platform. And the way that you did it was the way that you were allowed that loophole, kind of like a tax loophole, is that you said for every kind of marked increase in my light quotient, we're throwing a lot of words here, just trust that the energy is present for you. Okay, hang on. The loophole works because for every single one of you that allowed your light quotient, in other words, your ability to hold light within your human form, consciously and unconsciously, you allowed it to surge while allowing that effect, that mark, that stamp, to be part of the collective record for the human race across all timelines. In other words, for anyone else that wanted it, that would seek it, that would choose it, it would be available to them. So you weren't leaving anyone out. You weren't leaving behind your humanity. You weren't denying your human imprint, that you were experiencing this from within. You were leaving that record, almost like a library book that anyone can check out. That allowed you access to that loophole. Because had you had a selfish ambition of like, well, I'm just going to supersede, the qualities of light within humanity, and I'm not going to let anyone else have access to my secret codes. That's number one. That's not your nature. That's not this group's nature. You want more than anything for everyone. I mean, you wish you could just like plunk it onto people without even them asking for it, so that it's super, super easy. And it's absolutely beautiful what you've done here.
Okay. I guess a follow-up, Jill. I'm thinking about that process of asking the big questions, obviously with a certain sense of manner, politeness. Now, what is the relationship of that to a situation, for example, where let's say the galactic time traveler situation where, permission is sort of granted for an experience to take place, let's just say within the present. Is that pretty well the same kind of process?
It's different. The way that you're asking it, I see differences. I'm being shown differences because, for example, for all of us that know ourselves as galactic time travelers, which is this idea, and there's a remembering workshop for those that haven't heard that term before or how we talk about it. Just go into the JillReneeFeeler.com website and search galactic time travelers, and you'll get that remembering workshop available for you to consider. This idea that we as our higher selves are actually, we chose this timeline in an incarnation so that we could affect future timelines. So our future selves are kind of like, okay, if we adjust this right around 2016, then the future timelines will be very different. And possibly, even more yummy for being in human form or allowing other options for humanity, etc. So we intentionally came at this timeline to precede energies, genealogy, light-based energies within human form, etc., that have a conscious and strategic effect on other timelines parallel. They look like their future, but they're actually all happening at the same time. So it is different because we don't need the permission. We don't need the polite ask. When you are planning that kind of journey from outside the quarantine, the politeness and the big ask and the sense of diplomacy becomes more of an issue once you're inside the journey, once you're inside the quarantine, and you're running into issues. Some are not running into issues with certain things, so there's no need to have an ask. It's interesting though, as more are kind of pushing the envelope or maybe running into tension or some sort of resistance, that ask process can sort of loosen up the grip of the quarantine or the grip of the separation age on your movement and motion of light in this reality. So we wanted to point that out because for some of you it's very relevant. For some, you may just be clicking along and not even need it. But then at another point, you may be like, okay, I feel the resistance here. Did I miss some sort of a like a gatekeeper desk that I didn't send the welcome basket to? That hey, I'm in town. You know, I just want to make myself known. Or if we can be friends. You know what I mean? So my ambition working with Wetiko is making sure we cover all the bases that any of us may encounter as we proceed in this unprecedented way of being light in this reality. So, Paul, does that help link it to the galactic time traveler part? I see the relation to it, and I love that you made that connection. Thank you for making that for us. There are differences, though, because of whether it's inside the quarantine or outside the quarantine. And whether we are owning the authority that we have or not. That's the other kind of part B to it, is our ownership, if you will, of our light-based authority, and the fact that we actually do have permission to kind of go rogue when it comes to being the standard human, and how we choose to own that. And I guess one example of that I'll offer from my personal experience is this whole idea of this YouTube video. I didn't ask for permission, I just did it. Now, I'm getting this blowback in the form of just really hateful, just ugly comments that some people are giving, but I'm not standing around talking to them about it. I'm not like, well, I have to be polite and like publish your ugly, hateful comment on my YouTube channel. I'm choosing to hit delete because I don't feel a sense of obligation to interact with that sort of energy. They want me to, though, right? They want to distract me in the process and try to pull me down into some murky, weird dimensional layer of their hate and fear and whatever else that is. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It does, and I just want to say that, and thank you, and certainly recognize you for, stepping forward and being courageous and actively delving into numerous areas. Particularly I was just watching that video that you mentioned of last Friday, and it certainly does help myself, and I'm sure many others, to sort of become, similarly courageous and brave and step forward and, to delve into those areas. So, Jill, thank you for all that you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul, and you're welcome too. It's I really appreciate that. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Take care, Jill. Bye now.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Love you. Bye now.
Okay, you guys. So, are we wrapping up? Any final questions that you guys want to offer? You can click *2 to raise your hand or type in the question box. Otherwise, we will call this a wrap. It's funny. I'm feeling led to offer that I think more than anything, my desire with everything that I'm doing is for all of us to perhaps know how strong our light is in this reality. Because there's just so much evidence to the contrary, right? That it could take one mean comment to kind of shut me down and make me run in the other direction and go and take the video down and be like, hey, it's just too scary out there with the trolls, the internet trolls. Because I easily could do that, right? Anyway, it's just really, it's so interesting, right? How each of us, in our own unique ways, are bold, and I see us all as courageous, and I see all of us as pushing the envelope in very meaningful ways, and whether that's on a public front or on a very private front of redefining and, giving ourselves more room for our light and our love and our truth to be present on our humanness, it's all relevant. It's all equally as valuable to you guys. So I want you to know that those personal achievements of giving ourselves more room to be that light and that love and that sense of divine truth within our lives, it's all valuable. It's all worthy, and it's all on purpose. And then those other kind of flavors and cycles of our lives where we literally just want to kind of self-nurture and maybe don't feel like we're pushing the envelope and expanding our light. We're synchronizing and integrating the light we've already expanded into. That's all good too. So I just really, that would be another intention I have, is for each of us to really trust exactly where we are, that there's purpose in exactly where we are, that I love you exactly where you are, exactly everything that you are and everything you've ever been and everything you will ever be. There is so much love that I feel for you as just a small proxy for what I know your team and your higher self feels for you. So if I can be one example of that for you in this reality, then I don't want to miss a chance to do that for you. Because we do matter. Every single essence of consciousness in life in this reality matters. Yeah. Okay, let me go back to the, I see Julie and Mary. We got some hands up. Okay, so Julie, area code 559. Julie, can you hear me okay?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can. How are you?
I'm good. I don't know if you remember me or not, but I go by Paige McKenzie, and I'm from Fresno. Anyways, I got a reading from you not too long ago.
Hi, Paige. Yes, good to talk with you again.
Oh my God, this is the first time that I've actually been on with you. I've listened on the podcast and stuff.
Yes.
So, anyways, okay, so I had a question.
Yeah.
And oh gosh, I'm so excited. I want to cry.
Oh, it's good. Take your time. You're good. Just take your time.
Okay, so I didn't get to hear I didn't get to hear what was going on today. I got the times mixed up.
That's okay.
But it was from like number 4. It kind of really messed with my head, and I went into kind of a tailspin. Anyway, so about when you die and you go through the corridors and we're still having to struggle through there. Okay, but I did feel better. I heard you say later, and I'm not sure if it was another podcast I listened to, that we can ask for it to be easier for those of us that move through there.
Yes.
So that made me feel better, and I think I turned around from that tailspin I was in. But what my question was, I'm taking a mediumship class to talk to, those that have passed on. And then I got confused about, like, if I translate somebody else that has died, well, how do I know that if I'm really talking to them or not, if they made it all the way through the quarters?
That's exactly right. It's a great question, Paige. I'm so glad that I applaud you for asking that question. And this is one of the reasons why I don't really advertise myself as a medium, even though I do have that ability, and that does come through in certain sessions, the mediumship role, because I've heard mediums talk in a way of somebody's, deceased uncle or something that didn't feel loving. It didn't feel expanded. It didn't feel wise. So I kind of thought, well, what's the point of that? You know what I mean? So there is this perception that some have that if somebody's transitioned, if somebody's passed over, in other words, if they're dead, then they must have more to offer than what we have here. But that's not true. That's not always true.
Yeah.
Right? So I find that interesting. and compassionate that some humans feel so helpless that they'll just take anything. And they're like, well, if they're dead, they're in a better place than we are here. So yeah, what have they got to offer me? I'm like, oh my God, that can really create, I mean, even more messes for people than just listening to yourself. So anyway, my criteria, and I would offer it to you, it isn't about whether somebody has been in the human bodysuit recently or ever. It isn't about whether they got through all the corridors or not. It's the vibration of the energy that they're demonstrating in that interaction. And my kind of short list is, can you feel their love and honor for you as a human, for the client, right, as a human, and for the human race in general? I will not even, I don't even want to hear from somebody's vibrational essence that doesn't honor humanity, doesn't love humanity, and doesn't respect, and I want to say uphold, the sovereignty of human life.
It's been such a mind twister, you know, like all these, like all these things I believe now, they're all, you know, it's like having to. But I'm just trying to.
Paige, I trust you. I'm really encouraging you to trust yourself. That if any belief or truth feels and felt to you as expansive and helpful to the human race, then use it, sister. Right? Now, with my work, I don't hold back. So where I'm sharing, I'm going for the latest, most freshest, most expanded version of mastery I can. That's very different than a lot of spiritual messengers do. They start with like, okay, here's kindergarten, then there's first grade, then there's second grade, and they have year-long series of let's work our way up to the latest and greatest. I intentionally and consciously don't do that. So my approach is I see everyone here as their mastery. And some I think are maybe more kind of like, okay, yeah, I'm just going to skip all the beginners Ascension 101 stuff. I'm going to go right for the latest and greatest. And some do have in their beautiful minds, I think, a more challenging kind of reconciliation between how do I reconcile what Jill is telling me versus what so-and-so is telling me or every other book I've read. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. So when I look at
I don't believe I was.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't believe I was drawn to you by accident, Jill. And I admire you so much.
Thank you.
You are so courageous, and I love you.
I love you too. I do trust you, though, Paige, and I am encouraging you to trust yourself. That there are some clients even that will say, well, you know, what starseed am I from? And then I have this decision of, okay, do I go the way I would have 5 years ago? Or do I go for now in terms of how I really look at starseed origination? And sometimes I do make different choices based on what I feel vibrationally they almost are, I want to say, wanting to hear in a way. It's very rare, though, that I will hold back and that I won't give them kind of the latest and most expanded version of the truth that I know at this time. So that's a hard part, right? But when I see you, I see your mastery, and I'm giving your beautiful brain and all the layers of you that are confused by some of this a big, big hug, and just really trusting you that you. I just see all your love, Paige, and I see your desire to be in this mediumship class as another method for helping other people find joy and health and wellness in this reality. That's a beautiful thing.
My brain is growing.
You can't.
Stick with it, though.
Yeah, you can't go wrong, Paige. I mean, with that intention, trusting yourself, allowing yourself, time to process things, and okay, what makes sense and what doesn't, and all those things is a really beautiful thing. I'm sorry. I do want to apologize that session 4 sent you into a tailspin. That definitely was not my intention. I knew that was a potential risk of going to that level of extreme with the series. But truly for me, the safety net was there, that where I became comfortable with kind of sharing it publicly, because I had been delaying sharing it publicly forever because of the potential tailspin that someone would go into. My safety net was, but the only downside, I mean, some of us have been, through organized religion, terrified of a place called hell, right? When you realize the floor you go to is reincarnating again. That's, I mean, this place isn't all, yummy rose smelling, right? But it isn't eternal damnation like I was told in Christianity, right? So it's like, okay, so they come back here. Not exactly probably what they wanted as their higher self, but it could be worse. It could be a lot worse, right? So that to me was like, well, they come back here, and they kind of got misguided, and they didn't have to come back here in a way, but they got stuck in the loop.
So then so is it possible, like my mom passed like 16 years, is it possible to speak to her, or is she, let's say she didn't go through all the quarters and she's back here and a little tiny baby, is she the same vibration? Is she still my mother, or is she a man this time,
Oh, got it. Okay, so your mother answered very affirmatively, yes, that you definitely can still speak to her. And this is where it gets, it's a mind bender in a lot of ways for us, because, and this is where you meet somebody and they're certain that they've had 85 incarnations or something. And it's like, okay, so there's part of me that wonders, well, how many of those were, I want to say, deliberate, where their higher self said, I'm coming in straight from source, versus the ones where they got in the recycle loop. I have met people that feel like it's more evolved, that they've had more incarnations than somebody else, more human incarnations than somebody else. And yet when I look at them energetically, I'm like, wow, they seem really like towards the eon empty in terms of their sense of accessing divinity purely from source versus in, all the other ways that we can gain energy. So it's just really interesting. There's just so many different.
So Jill, if we can make it all the way through, and you said there was a celebration, then what do we do after that? Then do we plan another mission and reincarnate again, or do we live happily ever after, or do we decide then?
Okay, so I do want to point something out, because when the way that you're looking at it, the way that I'm seeing that you're looking at it, Paige, it is kind of like a Candyland game in a way of a beginning and an end, right?
Yeah.
But another way to look at it is more like those beautiful balls of string that you go get at the hardware store, the craft store, or a ball of yarn, and all of it is just looping and intersecting with each other. So they all layer on top of each other. So there is no end. And source, creator, God, this universe even, would be finite. It would have a limit if it had an end where it said, there's nothing else I want to explore. There's nothing else I want to be curious about. You see what I'm saying? So when we get all the way through to our sourceness, we're like, well, that was interesting. Did you see how many ways I could have been looped back in? So all of it's good. All of it allows for the expansion of source energy, not to know itself, right? We debunked that myth, right? But just to be curious. That's what keeps Source, Creator, God infinite. That's what keeps even our universe continuously expanding. It's curiosity rooted in love.
Jill, what is the foundation classes that I should take so that I can I can understand the language that's going on with like the council meetings, and like you said, that myth that we did debunk, because I feel like I don't understand that.
Okay, and that part I really haven't put into a foundational series of Galactic Council meetings, I don't think. Let me revisit that for a second and just check. But the foundational classes that I always recommend to everybody is I call it now the Soul Signature Series. It's gone through multiple names, but the Soul Signature Series is what its latest name. And I think I do have a coupon code on the Outwitting Wetiko page. I'll remember tonight or tomorrow to go in and make sure that, because I really did want to have a nice welcome mat for this group that hadn't done that series before. That has a wonderful foundational kind of basis. And then I'm thinking about putting that into book form, but it may take I'm not sure if I'll get that done this year or not. But this is the hard part for me because I have so much information out there, and it's kind of all over the place in multiple ways. But again, Paige, I trust you. you will get exactly what you need in that moment. So even if you're just going to my YouTube channel and just kind of randomly picking a video, I do trust that you will get exactly what you need in that moment to help you consider and discern what we're offering. Okay.
And I just wanted to say that I love Paul's questions. I look forward to hearing his questions. I love his voice, and
I do too.
I just really appreciate him.
Oh, Paul, I hope you heard that.
Jill.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Paige. I love you.
Right. Thank you, Jill. I love you too. Thanks.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. You guys are so awesome. I love and honor you guys, this whole group. Mary, hi. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yes, can you hear me?
I can. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
I so appreciated what you said at the end when you said, I feel to offer that if we are even doing this privately, that it matters.
Yes.
Because I think that's part of where I was being a little hard on myself, that I wasn't progressing because I didn't feel to do anything really publicly. And yet I believe anytime we do it, even if we're privately, sensing that part of ourselves, or if we choose to come from that place interacting with another human being, we are honoring that and strengthening it. Correct? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
I'm clapping.
I'm so glad, because I was listening to these great questions and thinking, oh my gosh, I wouldn't have thought of that. And no, it doesn't. I don't have to. I can still be. I mean, I love them, but every time I am feeling that, whether it's my inner knowing, or if I want to call it my sense of my soul, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because I don't always think of it as light. I try to do what you do, and I know what you're saying by that. Oh no, I am doing it. It just isn't a public thing.
That's right.
And it still counts. Like you said, it still matters.
Yes, it definitely matters. And I'm so glad that touched you, because that is such a big myth, and it's this big lie within spirituality and consciousness, that it doesn't matter if you're not like doing it publicly and writing books and you're doing videos or speaking. That's such a false. That's not true.
Yes.
All the private expansion matters just as much as the public.
Yes, and that was so good to hear, because we come with a different way of doing it. Like you said, we choose how we're going to use it, how we use our life. And
beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, that was great. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. So good to hear your voice, Mary. I'm glad you called.
Thank you. Okay.
Bye-bye. Okay, and there was an update from Amanda. She said, perfect answer to my question. Crystal clear. I feel that Wetiko has been going easier on me, like he really wants me to be my best self. Am I reading this energy right about Wetiko? And he's smiling at you. And he's saying, actually, I haven't gone easier on you. You're trusting your light even more, and you're allowing it to be even stronger in your energy field. He's smiling at you, and he's saying, actually, I haven't really let up in this reality, or even with you necessarily personally. It's that it's not working. I'm being more and more neutralized in a way by your light and your strength and your sense of certainty about your light and your sense of strength, stability, sustainability at your wider light-based energy field. My tricks don't work as much on you anymore, my sister Amanda. He's giggling and smiling at you and impressed by you. Oh, it's so good. Thank you. All right, you guys, I think that's a wrap. Thank you so, so much to every single one of you. I am so honored to be alongside you in this reality, in these beautifully created human body suits that we each have. It's like there's nowhere else I'd rather be. I love you, each of you, so much, and I really respect and honor all the uniquenesses and differences that we each have among each other. I trust you. And I hope that this allows you to trust yourself and your light and your soul signature and your love in this reality even more than maybe you did at the beginning of this series, okay? And I love updates. So as things progress and your supernaturalness starts to kind of peek through and bust through even more, privately and or publicly going forward, I'd love to hear from you or post comments on the room so we can engage with each other. I love you guys so much. And yeah, I love you. I love you. Thank you for your support with the series, by the way. This was kind of a wild card for me to go in this direction, but my goodness, I don't regret it for a second. So I love each of you, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.